two concepts that students very often get confused with one another are equations versus expressions. So in this video, I just want to clarify the difference between these two. See, an expression is just a collection of variables with constants combined by different operations like addition or subtraction or multiplication or things like that. For example, you might have something like 5y plus 7. All right, and so think about 5y plus 7. First thing I want to mention is that there's nothing right or wrong about 5y plus 7. It's just an expression. You can combine terms in different ways or write it in different ways or simplify it or things like that. But 5y plus 7 is just 5y plus 7. There's no specific number that y needs to be. It's just an expression. But an equation, on the other hand, is when we have one expression set equal to another expression. And typically this is going to yield what we call right and wrong answers. For example, if you had 2x plus 1, that's an expression. Set equal to 11, that's another expression. Then some x's will make these be equal, like 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 plus 1 makes 11. And other x's do not make it equal 11. And so you have these right and wrong answers for an equation that you don't have with an expression. So let's just recap. An expression is just a collection of terms and that's it. An equation has right and wrong answers. So knowing that, what are we typically expected to do with these different guys, especially expressions? Because if these are just a collection of terms and they don't have right and wrong answers, then you might be asking, well, Devin, what can I expect to see on a homework or a test or something like that if there's no right or wrong answers? That doesn't make any sense. Well, with expressions, the problems that you'll typically see will either ask you to simplify the expression or distribute terms or combine like terms, but it'll all center around just manipulating the way that the expression looks, but you won't be finding specific x values. For example, if you had 2z plus 3z, those are expressions and it's not an equation because I don't see an equal sign. This would be equal to the expression 5z. See, I've rewritten the expression by combining like terms, but there's no specific z that's correct. It's just an expression. It's just a collection of variables and constants that have been combined together. But now an equation, on the other hand, you'll typically be asked to solve that one. That means find what the right x value is or the y value or whatnot. Okay, so let's close with a couple more examples. If I had 2 parentheses x plus 5, would this be an expression or an equation? This would be an expression because it's not set equal to anything. There's not something that x really needs to be or anything like that. It's just a collection of terms. Now, if they asked us to rewrite this or distribute the 2, that's fine. We can do that. And we can rewrite this as 2x plus 10. But let's just be clear, 2x plus 10 is the same as 2 times the quantity x plus 5. It looks a little different, and I rewrote it in a different way, but there's nothing that says x has to be a particular number. There's no real solution to an expression like there is an equation. All right, now on the other hand, let's look at these examples. What if you had x squared minus 7x plus 1 equals negative 5? Well, see here, this is an equation because I have one expression set equal to another expression. And there are some x's that will make the left-hand side be negative 5, and there are other x's that will not let it be negative 5. And so if you're trying to solve the equation, you're looking for the x's that will make the equation true. Let's look at another example. Let's say we had something like 5x plus 3 equals 23. Again, this is an equation because we have one expression set equal to another. Now, the way that we solve equations is a whole other question that'll take us quite a while to go through, and certainly not in this video. the way that you solve equations depends on some properties of the equations, whether it be a quadratic equation or a linear equation or things like that. We won't go into any of that in this video, but nevertheless, however you solve it, you're looking for x values that will make the equation true. Now, for whatever reason, a lot of students have a bad habit of when they have an expression like this, like 2 times the quantity x plus 5, they'll just think that they have to make this an equation, and a lot of times they'll set it equal to 0. Well, there are some things in our algebra class where you might set something equal to 0, but this is not one of those places. There's no reason to set something equal to 0 just because. Now, if there's a reason that you're setting it equal to 0, that's something else. But if you just have an expression, don't just arbitrarily set it equal to 0 just because you think you have to. So just be aware of that. If it's an expression, leave it an expression. If it's an equation, leave it an equation, unless you have some reason to change it. So anyways, hopefully that helps you better understand the difference between an expression, which just has variables and constants without any right or wrong answers, and an equation that will have solutions.